Hey everybody, welcome to my Game of the Year 2024 video. This one took a little longer than I anticipated it took to make it, because I was staring at 23 games, technically. Why technically? We'll get into that one in a little bit. But I was looking at 23 games going, that's an odd number. Kind of hard to like, there's no real big standout in terms of like, oh, this is an overwhelming odds-on favorite, I'll just give it a buy in the first round type of game, right? So I had to add another game. It was like, what came out in 2024? And then I found out the game that basically took over the world in 2024 was actually playable on every console or every platform. And I gave that one a shot. If you're watching the background footage or my community post about, hey, it took a little time, I had to put in some more research, you can kind of guess what it is, and we'll talk about it. But I got 24 games loosely grouped up. The prep time was really just used to figure out what the 24th game was. I just got them paired up loosely. Like, some of them are paired up because obvious, but other ones are like, this one and this one. Screw it, right? You'll see what I mean as we get into it, but let's stop wasting time and actually do that thing. Let's get into this and try not to make this a 15-hour video, right? First up on the list is Suicide Squad. Sorry, YouTube. The Unalive Squad. Unalive the Justice League. Fuck you, YouTube. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League versus South Park Snow Day. One I played on camera and one I played off camera, right? That's gonna be a common thing with a lot of these. I played some on camera and there's Let's Plays on it, or I just played it in my own downtime. Suicide Squad was a good-ish game, I'll say that. It was a good-ish game. The story, what I remember of it, because that came out like January, something like that. So I'm trying to recollect. I'm trying to remember. The story was pretty decent from what I remember. It was very kind of. It wasn't. How am I wording this? Every Justice League member had their own unique mechanic to it, and it was actually like, oh, okay, they do this, they do that. At the end of the day, it was like very obvious of what the story was, and like, okay, it's Brainiac, and it's like, all right, what's the final boss? Oh, it's Brainiac. It would have been more interesting if like the final boss was was actually Superman. Like, okay, he's the biggest bad, but eventually you do take him down before Brainiac, and it's like, all right, fine. But the gameplay, which is what we're gonna be focusing on, the gameplay was fine. It was suitable for they wanted to call it a looter shooter, but not really, in terms of like, oh, it was nowhere near Borderlands, nowhere near Destiny. It was a passable action shooter, right? South Park Snow Day, there's a Let's Play of that one, you can go check it out. The story was great. I really had fun with the story. The gameplay sucked ass. If there's no like standout for like worst game of the year, worst game I played this year, until I played South Park Snow Day. Snow Day is probably the worst game I played this year. And I'm looking at an exception, but we'll get to that as well. Snow Day, the combat sucked, and I understand they didn't want to do an RPG because Matt and Trey, the creators of South Park, were burnt out after doing the Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole. Okay, you kind of ran yourselves aground with that, and then of course like failed seasons, and you tried to do fully canon seasons, and like that failed for very obvious reasons. Not because it was bad, but because of other reasons. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. I like, you got burnt out. That's cool, man. Don't release a game that's like this. That was just like it was cool that it was in 3D and it was like not a 2D RPG. The gameplay did not fit South Park. It did not fit the characters or anything like that, right? What better suited? Like all the kids, our crew in South Park went back to playing as the Stick of Truth characters. They were doing the Middle Earth stuff, the medieval stuff, the Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones type of characters. They weren't the superheroes anymore. RPGs suit that way better. That's what I'm saying. I do like the story though, that hey, we had to restart everything. We had to start from scratch because New Kid, again, for the second time, was too OP and screwed things up. I'm glad that's canon. Hopefully it's canonical to the show and not just like, hey, it's video game lore, that's it. Because we don't need a FNAF situation here with, like, muddying the waters about the storylines. Like, hey, wait, didn't this happen? Like, hold on, Mr. Hanky is back in the fold and everybody forgave him, or the kids forgave him. Why is he not back in the show and all this other stuff? The win goes to Suicide Squad. Yep, if you told me back in whenever Snow Day released or before Snow Day released, like, oh, you're gonna pick Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League over South Park, I'd be like, what? No, I'm not. That's just dumb. The gameplay sucks. South Park sucks. The combat and everything in it just sucked. Go watch the Let's Play if you don't know what I'm talking about, or you just want to experience my pain. Do that. Suicide Squad. What are we, some sort of moving on? Yep. Next up, Hellblade 2 versus Star Wars... Uh-oh, what was that game called? I don't even remember. I'm not even gonna look it up. Hellblade 2 was my most anticipated game of the year, technically. Looking at some other games, being like, oh, well, there was that one. I was most anticipating Hellblade 2 because I loved Hellblade 1. Hellblade 1 was so fantastic. Hellblade 2 had a lot to live up to, and it did. Combat was the same, which I think they should have improved on a little bit because Senua went through a lot during Hellblade 1, got better at fighting, becoming a warrior, reluctantly so. So, like, why does the combat not feel better? I'm not asking for, like, DMC style combat out of this game. But, like, I don't know, maybe make the dodge a little better, the parry a little bit better. So the combat was the same, but the story overall I did really like. Star Wars, all the crap it got from how should I word this? From incels, that's what we'll say, from incels and from the Ubi board, we will get to them. From the top of the top, Yves Guillemot, there's a reason why I know his name. Go watch the most viewed video I put out in 2024. Next Defiant video, you can kind of fucking guess why. But the shit it got from cucklords, incel cucklords, you know, in the hotel rooms, there's that chair. That's their chair. The people that were, oh my god, there's a woman main character. I can't play that fucking woke. That's their chair. That's where they sit while I fuck hotter women than their misogynistic minds can ever hope to AI generate because I let them. I allow them to watch a master of his craft work while they just sit on the sidelines, touching themselves over thoughts of Ellie from Last of Us 1. Not Last of Us 2, Ellie. 12-year-old Ellie. It is the same group of people. They're fucking idiots. The game was fine. It failed due to incompetence from the toppity top and caving and basically agreeing with those cuck chair people, right? The game was fine. It actually had a good story. I really liked the story of Star Wars, whatever it was called. I don't remember what it's called. It came out a while ago. It came out earlier in 2024. I thought it was good. It was what it was supposed to be. You are a rogue, you are a bandit, you are a Han Solo type character doing stuff for bounty hunters or Jabba and all this stuff. It was fine, and it had a good twist at the end, but not as... I don't want to compare this game to the god tier Respawn games. Jedi Survivor. Holy shit, I'm waiting for the third one more than I'm waiting for GTA 6. at this point, right? I want that game more than I want GTA 6. Give it to me, please, Vince Zampella. But we can't compare them, but there is a good twist at the end of this Star Wars game, where it's like, oh my god, alright, we did the typical, like, twist thing, like, oh man, you backstabbed me for the money? Oh no, and then there's the fucking double turn, and like, and they didn't use Vader as a plot point? Like, Jedi, the first Jedi game was like, alright, it's going good, everything's good, it's its own story, and then, oh fuck, Vader's here? It had that same moment, where it's like, alright, we're doing this mission, you know, it's a little like, you're getting a little, playing with fire a little bit, and then, oh fuck, he's here, oh shit, it had that moment, so I really, really liked it. Everything about the game was fine, it was good, it was a solid 8 out of 10. Ugh, stupid people being fucking stupid piss me off so much. Like, just stop. Stop basing things off of book by the cover, that whole thing. Stop doing that. The win goes to Hellblade 2, though. I like both games. I like Hellblade 2 a little more. Next, let's go to Innocence. Let's go back. Let's pull it back a little bit. Let's go to the innocent side of video games and talk about some indie games. I played a lot of indie games this year because a lot more were popping up due to Xbox ID. There's a lot of games popping up being like, hey, here's this cool one, here's this cool one. Oh man, this looks really cool. So I played a lot of them. I played at least a bunch of them, a handful, over a handful. Check my notes here. More than a handful, actually. But this time we're looking at the age-old competition of cat vs. dog. It's Little Kitty, Big City versus Humanity. These are two very different games, but they're paired together because it's cat vs. dog. Little Kitty, Big City is you play as a kitty in a big city. Who would thought? And your goal is to go around and find a way back up to your high-rise apartment, which you fell off of and you didn't you know, go splat, basically. And it's got a cute interactions with a bunch of the different animals, the raccoons. Were they raccoons or they were tanukis? I don't really remember. We have that. You have the crows always asking for fish, and you gotta find them fish for the shinies. And it was a cute little game. I really dug it. It was a cute little platformer. It was something bright and colorful in what was actually a pretty bright and colorful themed year, actually. That's going up against Humanity. Humanity was a puzzle-ish game, I guess we'll call that. It was... It's kind of hard to describe, because it's a platformer... That's it. It's a puzzle platformer, kind of, right? You take the role of, if I remember correctly, you're a god dog. Like, you're a glowing dog, and your goal is to lead the humans in the level to the exit point. And you have to do it the fastest, and you can collect different upgrades and all this other stuff. You get different abilities. It was a very chill game. It was like, alright, I recorded this thing. I gotta, you know, it's rendering, gotta wait for it to render to upload it. Alright, I'm gonna play Humanity. I'm gonna play Little Kitty, Big City. Right, that's what a lot of these games are. That's why there's no videos, because it's just for me. I'm gonna give the win to Little Kitty, Big City just because it is so bright, colorful, and adorable. Humanity was a great game. Both are great games. Humanity does suffer from, like, alright, you're staring at just, like, gunmetal gray with bright, like, glowing yellow. It could get a little bit boring to look at, right? So I'm gonna give the win to Little Kitty, Big City. Next up, some more indie games that I played this year. First up, Botany Manor versus Rolling Hills Make Sushi, Make Friends. It's a fun title to say. Botany Manor, you take the role of somebody who is, I believe you were renovating or just exploring this old manor, as it were. But you're a botanist, and the entire goal is to, it's a lot of puzzle solving, and you have to kind of use your brain a bit. I found it very challenging to be like, okay, what the hell? I have to find this thing and then, like, do a, like, hydraulic equation or something like that. It's like, but then it's like such a satisfying thing to complete the puzzle and be like, oh, then there's this beautiful plant that sprouted because you were able to figure out the steps, you were able to put things together. It was a very good puzzle, use your brain type of game. That's the best way I can describe it. And it had a lot of varying areas, a lot of unique puzzles to like overcome. Like you had to do one puzzle, like you can't get to the lower section because it's a decrepit staircase and it fell apart. So you have to find a way around by using puzzles and finding keys and all this other stuff. And then when you get down there, you have to do a medallion puzzle, and that'll cause things to happen where you can actually go upstairs, and that makes a shortcut. Like, okay, I really dug it. I really enjoyed my time playing it. That was another one like Humanity where it's like, okay, there's a lot of soothing music, very mellow, just mellow games. It was very, very good. Rolling Hills, make sushi, make friends. It's chaos. It is actually chaotic, but in like the best way possible. It's a I'll call it a slice of life sim kind of, but not really. You play as a robot, a sushi bot as it were, and you open this new sushi place in town, and it's your job to make sushi, and you basically build your restaurant up, place the chairs so patrons can easily get in, and you have to go to the local market, you have to befriend people, you have to talk to everyone and like, hey, what's the best for this? And you have to kind of plan things out accordingly to make the best sushi, and you get bonuses from that, and it's just an adorable little game. I really dug it. I really had a lot of fun with it. So I'm gonna give the win to Rolling Hills, make sushi, make friends. I enjoyed both games very, very much so, but there's just a charm of like this little robot rolling around town going, hi, and the fish market here going, oh, hey, the best fish of the day is the snapper. It gave a lot of Animal Crossing vibes. Just that part of it, like rolling around the town, meeting the fellow townspeople, right? You come into this town that didn't have really a lot of business, a lot of traffic, and you kind of build up the town's reputation by making awesome sushi. It's really fun. I liked it. Next up, it's the battle the Battle of the Souls clones. One of them actually being a Souls-like, or an actual, like, legit Miyazaki creation, right? You already know what it is. It's another Crab's Treasure versus Shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, I'm pulling a Jeff Keighley and being like, DLC is actually... like, fucking Jeff Keighley. Can we talk about Jeff Keighley just sucking PlayStation and Miyazaki off? Super hard look. Oh my god, Astrobot 1. It's like, it's the most easily accessible game you can play, so yeah, of course it's gonna be Game of the Year. Right? Okay, like, Shadow of the Erdtree is a DLC. DLCs do not deserve to be in Game of the Year contention. I did say that about a certain other game that you're watching currently on the screen. Shouldn't have been in there. Hey, guess what? I can admit when I was fucking wrong, and I was fucking wrong there. Shadow of the Erdtree did not deserve to be up there with other Game of the Year contenders. I don't know if they were like, we ran out of space. Uh-oh. I'm looking at like several different games on this list. Hellblade 2 wasn't nominated for really anything. Okay, why? Like, there's several other games on this list. I was like, wait, why? There was no horror representation at all, and there were 5 really great horror games to come out, that I played at least, in 2024. Like, why were they not represented, Jeffrey? Because you're sucking off Sony. Like, alright, cool, bud. It's like, I hope the kickback is good enough. I played another crap. I played both the channel. Hey, I didn't really enjoy either of them. I didn't really enjoy my time in either of them. Shadow of the Erdtree felt like Bloodborne's DLC. Like, Bloodborne, I love. The vanilla part of it, I love. Just the base game, like, fan-fucking-tastic. A tier. Like, it's up there with DS1, DS3, base game, Elden Ring. Like, it's up there as being god-tier game. The DLC, I know Sony pissed Miyazaki off, so he was like, fuck it, the difficulty is ramped up to, like, New Game +1, +2, even if you're on New Game, like, +0, right? That's what Shadow of the Erdtree felt like. Like, it had the one good boss fight. was the first one we encountered in the playthrough, and it was the dancing lion, and everything from there downhill. Just everything was overtuned. Like, I don't understand why the whole thought process, like, oh, we have to make a DLC for people that want to be soul level 200 at the very bare minimum, or they have to have a certain amount of health. Like, PvP in Souls games, since Souls 1, OG Souls 1, has always been like, okay, you're soul level 120 to 140. That's the sweet spot where you can get people at 100 and 160. That's the sweet spot where you want to be for PvP, because then it's the most balanced. You actually have to put thought into your build. You have to min, max everything. Why the fuck is the DLC for Elden Ring tuned to people who are on New Game plus 15? Like, with builds of, like, they have maxed out health and endurance and strength. That's what it felt like. Like, I still haven't beaten the DLC, and I don't think I ever will. At this point, I don't give a fuck about being Radahn. I don't give a fuck about being the consort that he is. Like, he is so overtuned to be fucking difficult for no reason. Like, pre-patch, pre-day one patch, I know people who like playtest were like, yo, was a lot harder. Like, yeah, cool, man. Pre-patch 1, day 1, Radahn, balls hard. And then they nerfed, not him, but the things that were one-shotting him that you had to cheese him with. I tried those tactics. It's not as easy as people made it look like, because you gotta be level 200 and have this amount of faith and this amount of strength. Like, I want to play a DLC like I did in Dark Souls 1 with a level 120, perfect for PvP character, and fight Artorias, fight Manus, fight the fucking dragon, whatever the hell his name was, and beat them as that character and not feel like I'm getting cheated every single time. Shadow of the Erdtree fucking sucked. Another Crab's Treasure sucked even more. That's why I didn't finish that game. That's why I stopped playing it right before Shadow of the Erdtree. It was good. It's good in concept. It's great that they put all these accessibility features in it. I just couldn't get into it. Like, the combat just did not feel good to me. Like, it felt like I was underwater, which, hey, maybe it's supposed to be like that. I don't know. It didn't feel good to me. I have to give the win to somebody. Congrats, Miyazaki. You get the win here, I guess. I'm not gonna suck you off like Jeffrey, though. Now we make our way into the realm of horror. Like I said before, I played 5 horror games. 6 if you want to count the first one we're going to talk about, but you might want to talk about it for different reasons. I played 5 horror games, so let's get into those, right? First up, Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. Yes, I'm counting this one because technically it is a separate game. I know all the things I said about Shadow of the Erdtree being a DLC shouldn't be in the Game of Year contention, but Poppy Playtime is a technical sequel, not a DLC. I can make an argument for that because it is a separate download, is a separate buy. I had to buy Chapter 1, 2, and 3 separately. There was no big old bundle, right? Yes, it's the same story being told, but it's a different game altogether. I can make the arguments all day and night. It's going up against Palworld because I don't know why. Palworld, I put a lot of time into, and I enjoyed all of it. It is very janky, it is very clunky, it is very... Oh, Miyamoto-san. It took you, what, 10 months to be like, yo, maybe we should sue Palworld. Really? It took like 10, 11-ish months for Nintendo to be like, that game's getting a little too big now after it had like 25 million players in the first month. It's getting a little too big now. Maybe we should sue it. Like, fucking really? It took you that long to be like, yeah, there's a lot of copycat stuff here. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was different. It was a new twist on the Pokemon formula where you had base building and you had to mine stuff and guns being the biggest thing. There's not a lot to say about Palworld if we're being honest. Like, if I can look back at my time playing it, I probably have hundreds of hours into it because it's like, oh, it's my type of game. It's grindy. It gives me a reason to play it. But there's not a lot there. It's you build a base. You figure out what the best place to build a base is. Capture the correct creatures to be the workers there. Make sure they're all happy, and you get infinite resources, and then you can just do things. Like, that's how it is. Like, you just upgrade things, and then you go about your day, right? There's nothing really special. You do raid bosses, but they're not really raid bosses. They're kind of, it is what it is, right? It's very, what you see is what you get type of things. I haven't played it since I 100% of the game. Like, got every achievement. Uninstall that, never looked back. I haven't played any of the updates, any of the whatevers. Like, Terraria is doing a crossover with it, I think. Alright. Weird. I think it's Terraria, at least. I'm like, alright, cool, whatevs. Poppy Playtime, I had to play the first 2 chapters to understand what the fuck was going on. And I did that on the channel, all 3 of them. I really liked Chapter 3. I really enjoyed Chapter 3. It was very much my type of horror. Like, Chapter 1 was a lot of set dressing, like, hey, here's where we are. Here's what's going on. Here's the mystery, right? Very much like, any good horror prequel, any part 1 to a horror game, right? This style, at least. Very much like, you know, Bendy and the Ink Machine, where like, okay, Chapter 1, here's what's going on. It's a rundown facility. There's a mystery. Something happened. Your job is to figure it out. Okay, cool. Chapter 2 was very bright. It was very bright and colorful. The main villain was very up in your face, seeing her all the time, seeing Mommy Longlegs all the time. Chapter 3, Catnap was very secretive, very secluded. A lot of it was like seeing him in shadow, seeing his eyes just at the end of a dark hallway. Had that great Resident Evil Village Beneviento house segment. It scarred me so much. I remember it to this day. Like, oh, it's Donna Beneviento's house. Like, cool, with Angie, right? I remember that sequence so much, and this did it basically the same way, where it's very much a dream sequence, and it was very good. I loved all of it. I have no complaints. Hey, can you guess which one moves on? Yeah, it's Catnap. Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. Next up is some story horror. Weird how, like, you don't need to do all jump scares. You can actually tell a story with your horror. That's not a shot at anybody else. It's just like, I had no segue, alright? It Still Wakes the Deep versus the casting of Frank Stone. I have done both as Let's Plays, both videos. Casting of Frank Stone is on the Kill by Daylight channel. Link is in the basement if you want to go check that out. The reason for that is because it is a story set in the world of Dead by Daylight. So I might have a bit of a bias here, but I really liked both games. I really like both games. Still Wakes the Deep, I was highly anticipating coming out because Thalassophobia or Hydrothalassophobia, I don't remember which one I have, but I suffer from one of them, if not both. Let me do a quick Google, hold on. Okay, I'm not sure which one I have. I'm not sure, because like, okay, thalassophobia is a fear of the ocean. Like, okay, technically, yes, the ocean is very scary, but also megalahydrothalassophobia is a fear of large objects in the ocean. I'm like, if they are creatures, yes. I'd be like, yeah, sure, man. Like, go watch my Subnautica playthrough. That entire series is me jumping at fucking shadows and then jumping at the real monsters. Go watch that playthrough if you want to know like everything. So I'm not like, yeah, sure, I guess blanket is the last phobia, sure, but it takes place on an oil rig in like the mid-50s, I think. I'm not I don't remember entirely, but it was very, very good. It was cosmic horror. You're on an oil rig. The oil rig hits something and causes a lot of shit to go bad, and suddenly Lovecraft happens, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. Casting of Frank Stone. didn't answer a lot of the questions we were hoping it would, right? How does the entity work? What is the entity? How do the realms work? I guess I kind of answered that last one, but it set a lot of stuff up and answered a lot of other questions that us Dead by Daylight fans really wanted answers to, right? The game has lore, but there's nothing that you can, like, play, right? It's not a... It is just, you play the multiplayer and that is it. The lore is text boxes, and some of them are fucking essays that you have to read, and it's just like, okay, there's too much here. My brain is bleeding, please help. So getting a game made by Supermassive, a company that I love, every game they have that I have played, from Until Dawn to all of the Dark Anthology, the Dark Pictures Anthology, really helped and really set the stage. A lot of good things in that. I enjoyed all the characters. I enjoyed the main bad guy of Frank Stone. I'm hoping he gets added to Dead by Daylight eventually. You knew it was coming. I have to add the W to the casting of Frank Stone, but I loved both games equally, but because of what Frank Stone did for a franchise that I'm in love with, I gotta give it the win. Rounding out the horror category, we have some throwback horror. Everybody loves them. Some PS1 ass pixel graphic horror throwbacks to the heyday of Resident Evil 1 and Silent Hill. Everybody loves that. And we got two very good offerings this year, or the past year, 2024. In the form of Fear the Spotlight and Crow Country. I take a shot every time I said I thoroughly enjoyed both games. Fear the Spotlight was a nice short one. It was the first game from Blumhouse Productions. They are the publishers. They are pulling, I think in that I described it as like what Devolver Digital does. They take these small indie games and go, hey, this is a cool thing we want people to see, and we believe it's going to be great, and we're gonna push it forward. You're gonna hear Devolver Digital in a little bit as well, trust me. But that's what they did. And like, okay, Blumhouse are known for small budget things that blow up that are very good. And Fear the Spotlight was no different. I thoroughly enjoyed the main story, and then they gave me a part B to it. Play the game from the other side, and it's like, all right, now it is a 10 out of 10. It is a top contender. This is my jam. This is amazing. Crow Country kind of came out of nowhere. It just, I was perusing the Xbox shop, and then suddenly one day, like, Crow Country, what the hell is that? That look, all right, it looks cool. I played it, loved every minute of it. It has a very much, that's not proper wording. It's got a bigly sense of throwback to Resident Evil. I brought up in the video, both have playthroughs, by the way, go check them out. I brought up in the playthrough that it's given me very big Parasite Eve vibes. That's a game that's been long dead that needs to be brought back. Parasite Eve, just put that out there. But it was giving me very big vibes of that, and then the twist ending at the end, oh, so fucking good. So good. So good. The win I have to give to Fear the Spotlight because it is a more heartwarming endeavor, and it is a true survival horror. You don't fight back against the bad guys, the demons that are following you, the spotlight as it were. You don't fight back against that. You just kind of try to survive. You try to outrun it, you try to outwit it, you can kind of fend it off a little bit, but you can never really, like, in Crow Country, you cannot pull out a pistol and start shooting the demons, right? So it is a true survival horror game. Again, both games, Fear the Spotlight I think is a 10 out of 10. Crow Country is about a 9 out of 10. I did like it. There's some stuff about it, like, alright. Some of the puzzles, I'm like running around trying to figure out what the fuck is going on during the later stages of it. But still a great game. So remember when I said I technically had 23 games? Yeah, this is the part where I reveal that this list is made up of 25 games. Yep. Yep, it's the shooter round. Black Ops 6 versus XDefiant. But wait, plot twist, I'm disqualifying Black Ops 6 for its over, and I mean over, egregious use of AI and lying to the community and all this other bullshit that it had going for it. Not just being a terrible game, terrible shooter with SBMM and EOMM and all this other bullshit a arcade shooter should not have. I am disqualifying Activision as a whole from future videos about the game of the year. Fuck off. Change your shit. Get better. Hey, it's cool that Diablo is actually back up, but hey, Overwatch 2 still fucking sucks, and Call of Duty is dead. Good job, guys. So instead of just being like, XDefiant gets a pass, it's gonna go up against the late entry to the year, Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals dropped their Season 0 in December, and I haven't stopped playing it. Sadly, though, on the flip side of that coin, XDefiant launched with a very rocky start. Almost no communication from the devs after Season 0. Because they had early access, they had a Season 0, and the team was talking to us all the time. I have many videos about both games. But it suffered from a lack of communication, a lack of updates, and all this other stuff. And then we got the tragic news that the game was being sunset right before the biggest season it would ever have, because Ubisoft fucked up. I made an entire video about talking about it, expelling my frustrations about Yves Guillemot and how he is a capitalist fuck up and all he cares about the bottom dollar, not players. And I'm gonna make a guarantee. Hey, Assassin's Creed Shadow was delayed again. That thing I said about the Star Wars game from Ubisoft, about how they were pandering, basically saying like, oh, the fucking incel cucklords, they're women in games, am I right? Yeah, they're listening to those people again with Shadows, because those fuckers don't want to Google Yasuke at all and just like, why is he colored, right? They're throwing a hissy fit because they don't know what history is. Guess what, idiots? He's not the made-up character for the fucking game. He's not. He actually existed in history. There's evidence of him being a real person. The other person you play at, the actual like shinobi, the Kunoichi, she fucking doesn't exist in history. She's a made-up character. Dipshits. So my bet is Yves Guillemot is going to tank that game just so he can go up to his investors. And I explained this all in that fucking video. Go watch that video. Go watch me rant and rave and talk about how I'm pissed that Ubisoft should have canceled 5 other games instead of XDefiant. Go watch that video. Marvel Rivals wins because it's an actual competent game. NetEase, after Season 1 dropped, are still talking to us and still providing updates and content. Holy shit, what's that like? Black Ops 6 ain't gonna do it, and XDefiant is dead via a self-inflicted gunshot wound from Yves Guillemot. Sucks to suck, first-person shooter fans. Halo 7, 8, what are we up to? Halo on Unreal 5, save us. Save us in 2025, please. Now let's calm down a little bit with fighting games. There was 2 I played this year. I think there was more, but I'm not entirely sure. These are the 2 that I was interested in, at least. Of course, WWE 2K24. I'm a wrestling fan that plays video games, so yes, I'm going to play the WWE game. I did a short Let's Play on it. Didn't get that much far. I think it was only like a couple episodes. The story wasn't really that interesting, but the story never really is that interesting. That's not what you buy the WWE games for. That's going up against Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, the newest addition to the Budokai Tenkaichi series, technically. Yeah. This one's pretty easy to pick because it's WWE, which has been the same formula for goddamn decades now, with slight improvements, except for 2020, which we do not talk about that edition. There's been they add new things every year. It's like, okay, cool, dope, that's fun. And then something brand new like Sparking Zero drops, and it was fun, and it still is fun, and that gets the win. There you go. Next up is emotions. Everybody has emotions. Everybody has emotions. That's a fact. Talking about Harold Halibut, which is a very interesting game to talk about, going up against Neva. You already know the outcome here. You already know it. You already know the outcome. Neva wins. But that is to say, both games are good. Both games are great. They have their own little interesting things. Neva is a world of color that has great gameplay, great mechanics, an incredibly emotional story that hits every beat perfectly. And I brought up in the finale that this game is from the people that gave us fucking Carrion, whose box art originally was just vagina. Like, it comes from those people, the people that put on the greatest E3 awards show or E3 conference ever every year. This comes from the Hotline Miami publishers. Yeah, it's a great game. Harold Halibut didn't get that far into it. I will pick it up later in the future. Let's Plays, obviously, go check them out. It's good. It's got a unique art style because it is handmade, stop motion animation every bit of the way. And it's got a unique flair to it. I really dig it. I have to get back to it, but Neva is the very clear winner. Last up for the long explanation round, I guess we'll call it, because I'm looking at OBS and saying 44 minutes. Yay. We got Life is Strange Double Exposure? Was that what it was called? I believe so. Going up against Balatro. Yep. The game that took over the world in 2024. Balatro. I really like Balatro. It has become my latest obsession since playing it. It's my type of game, man. Just a game where you play it and you get lost in it and you just like grind out everything. And it's like, all right, fuck it, let's go. It's a roguelike poker game. I didn't know what the hell that meant until playing it. I'm like, okay, now I understand. Now I have to learn poker. Cool. What are we, back in the mid-2000s when that was all the rage? World Series of Poker. Remember that, kids? No, you don't, because you weren't born yet. It's great. It's a great game. The win goes to Life is Strange. Sorry. You gave me a game that doesn't have a story. Balatro is great, right? It's a great roguelike. It's up there with Binding of Isaac and some other games. It's fantastic. But the only reason I keep playing is it because there's an addiction level to it. Like, all right, I got one more round. One more round, one more ante, one more run type of thing, where Life is Strange Double Exposure sets up a lot for future Life is Strange games if they happen. I'm assuming they will. It sets up a lot of interesting shit. It really does. So I gotta give the win to that game for being really, like, just taking a risk with the ending and being like, yo, we're doing some Avengers shit with the Life is Strange universe. Buck fucking wild that we're here. And now we're on to the speedrun portion of the video. In the first portion, I gave an explanation of what I thought about every game so we can get to this point and just say who wins and who loses, and we can get on with our day, unless you just want to see me screw up in Balatro, which I just might make that its own video series. Because just because it lost doesn't mean I'm not enjoying it or still playing it, which I very much am. So first up, Suicide Squad versus Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 wins because, duh, it is basically a borderline perfect game. Little tunings needed to be made to make it perfect, like the combat being a little bit better compared to... I'm sorry, did they sell a battle pass for a single player game? What? There's so many instances this year I'm like, we're just revisiting a new horse armor, right? Fortnite with, like, selling shoes? Why? I gave my explanation of that in the video I did about it. That's horse armor. Like, you don't think Bobby Kotick, Light, Yves Gilmay is gonna be like, maybe we should resurrect X-Defiant and Edge shoes for $15 a pop? Fucking really? You're no, that's bad. Battle passes in single player games don't belong. That's a sin, and you will burn in hell for that one. Hellblade 2 moves on. Little Kitty Big City versus Rolling Hills, Make Sushi, Make Friends. This is a hard choice, but I'm going to give the win to Little Kitty Big City because it is adorable. That is it. That is all. Shadow of the Earth Tree loses to Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 because, oh man, all the reasons I explained in the first part. That's why I did that in the first part, to give you some clarity. Next up, Frank Stone versus Fear the Spotlight. I'm going to give the win to Fear the Spotlight, actually, because it is a short, I think, 5-6 hour game that has a very cute ending and very good scares and is very, very, very good. Not to say that the casting of Frank Stone isn't, but Fear the Spotlight, you could just jump in and play, no prior knowledge to anything else. You don't need to know the worlds for Fear the Spotlight, whereas casting of Frank Stone, I feel like I got a lot more out of it because, one, I'm a Supermassive fan of Supermassive and Dead by Daylight, and I know the worlds that Supermassive creates, and I know the world that I play in on the other channel in Dead by Daylight, and I got what I wanted. I know some people who are in the same community as me were like, I don't know, it's a little like ham-fisted with Easter. It's like, hi, sorry, love your content, but buddy, that's what the game is. That's what we wanted. Oh, this is a pretty cool mask, holds up Huntress's rabbit mask. Yes, that's what we fucking want out of this game. Goofy shenanigans with real good scares. So I got more enjoyment out of it because I know the universe it's in. Fear the Spotlight, you don't need that, so I put Fear the Spotlight above. It's also, like I said, cute ending. Marvel Rivals versus Sparking Zero. This was another difficult one because they're both universes that I love unconditionally. But man, we were so starved for a good shooter for about 12 months and 13 days, or 11 months and 43-ish days. Like, Call of Duty, shit the bed. X-Defiant didn't live up to the hype because of fucking Yves Gilmet. Again, I did an entire video of it. Go watch it. So we were so starved for a good shooter. And then Marvel Rivals swoops down, snaps its fingers with the Infinity Stones, and says, here it is. It's God tier. So that moves on. Again, I really like Sparking Zero. It has a good what-if stories, and it's got a lot of good content. I just like Marvel Rivals a little bit more. Next up, Neva versus Life is Strange. You already know. You already see the outcome. You're like, all right, we get it. Neva moves on. I did like Life is Strange. Again, it opens up the world a lot. I'm excited for future installments because of how the ending was and how it sets up good versus evil meta-humans, I guess. Was that what they were called? I don't remember. But like the good versus evil X-Men, basically, right? One side is Charles Xavier, one side is Magneto. I'm very excited to see what the future of the franchise looks like. If we continue Max's story, or we set up a different superpowered person and then put them into the fold. I'm excited for that, but Neva is a perfect game. Semi-final round. Hellblade 2 versus Little Kitty Big City. The win goes to Hellblade 2. It's just a better game. That's literally the long and short of it. When people are like, Xbox doesn't have any exclusive titles, I'm like, bitch, go play Hellblade, you fucking idiot. Just go play Hellblade, right? That's it. Go play Hellblade. I haven't played A Plague's Tale. Go play that as well. Apparently that's really good. I gotta get to that. Like, there you go. There's your exclusives that you're really wanting in the year 2024. Hellblade 2 was right there. That's a great game. Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 versus Fear the Spotlight for the title of Best Horror Game that I played this year. It's another difficult decision, and I'm gonna be a hungry hypocrite and put over Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. If you can get away with doing a dream sequence where I'm like, Beneviento, then you're gonna win every single time. Straight up. Loved Fear the Spotlight. Poppy Playtime has me excited for the future of the game. Lastly, Marvel Rivals versus Neva. I don't have to say anything. You already know Neva moves on. Now we got a triple threat. I didn't plan this out very well. We have a triple threat for Game of the Year 2024. Well, Hellblade 2 and Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 are sequels that you have to play. That doesn't work because I already reversed my decision on that line of thinking to put over Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 over Fear the Spotlight. Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 and Hellblade 2 are dark games visually, and Neva is bright and colorful. That's why Neva wins. We got there somehow. We got there somehow. Neva is my favorite game of 2024. That's them bones. It's a perfect game. I can't wait to see more from this studio. I know they made a game before, Gris, however that's pronounced. I gotta get to that. And I'm excited to get to that because of how Neva is. If it's as emotionally impactful as Neva, it's gonna be a great game. Simple as that. The platform was great, the story was great, the visuals were astounding. It is a great game, and it is my Game of the Year 2024. And with that being the conclusion, that concludes this video. Everything I mentioned in this video that had Let's Plays have Let's Plays. You just gotta seek them out. They're on this channel or on the other channel. Link is in the basement. Go watch them, go enjoy them, and know my in real-time reaction to how they are and my opinions on them. Go do that, support the channel. And I'm excited for the year 2025 in terms of gaming and what we could potentially get. So for now, I want to thank you all for watching. Just remember, this is all my opinion, by the way. If it wasn't apparent from the start, this is all my opinion. So take it with a grain of salt, including that last final section where I had to make up a reason why Neva won. It's kind of a running rule on this channel. Like, if your game makes me cry and get emotional, it's winning. Death Stranding did it, Neva did it. I guess we'll wait another 4 years to see what game makes me cry. So, unless, like, Halo Unreal 5 Edition is, like, so good, I'm like, oh my god, Master Chief looks so good, then we'll find out then. But for now, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed anything I did in the year 2024, super kick the like button, check my channel for more videos I've done. If you like what you see, hit subscribe, spread the word, and until next time, goodbye.